Lucas, what was the number? What was the playoff odds deal? The Giants not making the playoffs is minus 175 for the betting public. Is that right?
Not just betting public. That's the line. That's the line out there.
That feels off.
Well, that's what the line is for. It's for the betting public. You guys are both right.
Yeah, but that feels off. I know why. Thank you very much. This is for the betting private, too. Do they ever have that? Who is the betting private? That's like Charles Barkley and Michael Jordan. Mm-hmm. Exactly. That's the betting private. I get why. I totally understand why. So here's what's taking shape. The NL West looks like it's going to have a division winner, and then whoever's in second is going to be a hot wild card. Yeah. That's what it looks like right now. We're not even at the halfway pole.
So what you're saying, and maybe this is breaking news, but you're saying there will be a winner of the NL West.
That's what I said. No,
breaking news.
What I said was whoever...
Thank you.
Totally. This just handed to me. No, it right now what you've got is whoever's in second is going to have a really good record. I mean, the Dodgers are not even in first place.
Right.
And they're 37-29. So here's the way the wild card stacks up right now. The Marlins are also 37-29. Those are your wild card leaders.
Marlins are sexy.
Yeah, then the Milwaukee Brewers come in 3 games back and in the final wild card spot. The Giants are only a half game behind them for the final playoff spot. The reason the betting public gets to go at minus 175 on the Giants not making the playoffs is because of who's still sitting behind the Giants. There are behemoths, the big boys, the big spenders, the big favorites. The Phillies, the Padres, and the Mets are all sitting right behind the Giants within 2.5 games. And so the thought is those teams are going to get better. However, I also think the Miami Marlins are going to come well back to earth. This is a team that's 37-29 and has a negative run differential.
Right.
This is a wacky scenario that has developed with the Miami Marlins. I do not find it sustainable. I think they are going to be out. Milwaukee Brewers, I feel less so, but to a degree, a little bit the same way. I don't know. I'll say this. There's 2 things going on at the same time, which is the Giants trying to compete to make the playoffs and the Giants trying to compete to interest their fans. All year long, that's what this is about. There's 2 different things going on at once. Are the Giants good, and are the Giants interesting? And I think that they've taken strides in both in the last 3 to 4 weeks. Let's put it that way. They have taken strides in both.
They've taken more strides in being interesting than they've taken strides in being good, in my opinion.
Okay.
Based on where they continue to be. 3 steps forward, 2 steps back, 2 steps forward, 3 steps back. You're still basically, a 500 club? I mean, you're a game above.
You're game over, yeah.
So you're game over.
Yep.
You drop 2 of 3 in St. Louis. Now you're back to 500. You win 2 of 3. You lose 2 of 3. This feels to me kind of like the way the season's going to be in terms of a trajectory. I know they've been 6 games below on 3 different occasions, and each time they've surged to 2 games above. I don't know if they've been much more than 3 games above.
I think 2 games above is actually their height.
So it kind of feels like this is the team to me. Now, in terms of your other statement, I think they've become a lot more interesting than they've gotten good, and maybe it's because we watch them closely, and Bailey and Schmidt and Matos is coming, and Kyle Harrison's not that far away, and it feels like the youth movement is happening before our eyes. And even beyond that, take the 13-3 game. You had 2 different guys hit a couple of home runs each, and Jock put one in the water, number 101, splash hit. This team, when they win, is very, very exciting. And even when they don't win, they've got a lot of good pitching. And also, it needs to be pointed out, their closer is exciting.
He's the best closer in the
game
right now.
The dude throws 102 with movement.
Yeah.
How do you hit him?
Well, we leave this out of the conversation.
My God,
and
Mark.
we shouldn't. We're talking about the young nucleus, and he is a huge piece. So Logan Webb is now here. Camilo Doval's got the back end of the bullpen. You're thinking that maybe there's some more, at least 1, maybe 2 starters coming. Kyle Harrison, Keaton Wynn just got called up. Could they stretch him out, put him into the rotation? That's absolutely a possibility. Cobb's been good. DeSclafani's been passable. All of that. So Can you sort of cobble together a rotation? Yeah, absolutely. The infield looks fantastic. The outfield looks better, and maybe you add a Matos to it. Sure, like I think it's a viable team. I do think if you got to a playoff series, you're like, okay, set your rotation for me. Who's starting game 1?
It's Logan Webb.
Starting game 2? No, I got an answer on that one.
Go ahead.
Alex Cobb.
Okay.
He's been fantastic.
Maybe game 3 is where it starts to get interesting.
Yeah, it does.
Because I don't. DeSclafani.
That's your answer, but I mean,
Stripling's a no. Manaya's in the bullpen.
Right.
I mean, Wood.
But it could change by then. You know
could.
who I always think about is Frankie Rodriguez in 2002, the year the Angels beat the Giants in the World Series. That guy in June, I mean, I'd have to look it up, but I don't even think he was up on the team. I don't even think he was up. And then he came up, and he absolutely was unhittable. No one had a scouting report on him, and he was a major piece running through the playoffs. Could Kyle Harrison do the same thing?
Sure.
He could. He could. Plus, you got the deadline. And you don't know what that'll look like. Farhan has promised being aggressive if they're in the mix for this whole thing.
I wonder what being aggressive would look like in terms of what Farhan.
Starter.
I know, but what would you part ways with? That to me becomes the real interesting. Yeah, whatever you want to acquire, great. It's exciting, and I believe Farhan. I'll take him at his word. But what do you want to part with? Because you don't want to give up Luis Matos for a 3-month rental.
No,
you're not giving up Kyle Harrison. You probably aren't trading Casey Schmidt or Patrick Bailey. Could you try to maybe spin off one of these Confortos or Hanigers or a Jock Peterson or an actual major league piece?
You could do
to
that.
Get a pitcher?
You could do that. That's that maybe. And there are a lot other prospects down on the farm that have not grabbed our attention as much. But no, I do not think the Giants are in position. I love when people do this, and I know how many hot prospects have never panned out. But if you're asking me, Matos, hard no. Kyle Harrison, hard no. Marco Luciano, hard no. Absolutes, hard no. You are not dealing any of those guys. I don't even know what Joey Bart could get you anymore. I don't even know if there's an excitement level out there. But the Giants have a lot of other people down on that farm. And if you want to do kind of like what they did to get Chris Bryant back when they got him a couple of seasons ago, where they gave up a prospect, but it was like prospect 8 or 9 or 10 or whatever it is. I mean, that gives you an idea of the level of a player that you can get at the last second for a prospect. Like they got Chris Bryant. And it doesn't even feel like they really gave up anything to get him.
It's a rental. Yeah. It was a Chris Bryant rental. So that if that's where you are, then maybe you could part ways with Vaughn Brown. And I'm just looking at MLB.com's rankings. It's Harrison 1. Luciano is number 2.
Totally.
Luis Matos is number 7, which I think that he'll probably be higher than that very soon. Casey Schmidt is 3. He's with the big club. Then you get into Carson Wisenhunt, who I know a lot of stock on Carson Wisenhunt. Reggie Crawford, who's just getting started with his minor league career.
Crawford and Wisenhunt are lower levels, so those would be.
Keaton Wynn is 14, and he's now in the show.
He's up.
So Will Bednar, the other guy is Will Wilson. Have they totally soured on?
No, he got a little injured. Okay,
because I know he's doing pretty well at AAA this year.
Yeah, no, they still very, very interested in him.
So the farm is deeper than it's been in a long time. Yeah, no doubt.
Pieces. There's stuff that they can do. So I wonder what it starts to look like in the second half of the season. But don't you think? I mean, there's two different things going on at the same time. Like the Giants, it's almost like which office are you in? You in Farhan's office because he wants to win, or are you in Larry Bear's office because he wants to be interesting? He wants to win also, and they are obviously related. The more you win, the more interesting you are. But the whole butts and seats angle, the whose jersey would you want to buy, the average fan, do they even know who we're talking about kind of a thing, it has started to take shape, not only because young people have come up who have performed well, but I still think it's that word that we brought up last week, which is nucleus. It's not even that you have to be some flashy player. We just need to know who you are. We just have to know who you are.
And know you're going to be here is the other part of that, I think.
Thairo Estrada, second base. It's the second base. That dude's awesome. He is awesome.
Well, even Mike Yastrzemski, like the idea that we knew who he was, and the other piece being he's going to be here. Now, anybody can be traded. We get that. But he was pre-ARB 3 when he first started to pop, or he was pre-ARB 2, whatever he was. But you knew that Yaz, as long as he played well, was going to be here. So you could fall in love with Mike Yastrzemski and think, okay, that guy's going to be here. And to your point about Thairo Estrada, young player, he's going to be here. J.D. Davis, who is the only Giant, by the way, who has shown up in the All-Star results, just recently released today. He's the only one in the top 5.
In the top 5,
among position players.
Yeah, however, and I didn't think the Giants are this kind of the point we're getting at. Like, they don't have anyone who's going to get voted in. They probably don't have anyone who's going to get. Maybe,
no, but they have ballot box stuffers here traditionally. The Giants do.
But I think that, Thairo is someone who, for instance, could get placed on the team by a manager. Or it is very possible that the Giants will only get Doval. That's possible. That's the rule. You got to have one.
Yeah.
And the pitching staff obviously comes from the manager of the All-Star team, and that is your lockdown, no doubter. He is going to be on the team. So maybe that's it. But Estrada, to me, actually, even over J.D. Davis in this moment, is the most deserving. Thairo Estrada should be on the All-Star team. He has been absolutely incredible. And that's a Farhan find. You look at this, the other thing about this that's interesting, Schmidt over there at shortstop as a homegrown player. These other 3 infielders that are solidifying that group for the Giants are all part of these like Farhan minor pluck trades that everybody hates. Everybody hates them. Lamont Wade was in exchange for Sean Anderson from the Twins.
Yeah.
Farhan went and got Thairo from the Yankees organization. And J.D. Davis was one of 4 players the Giants got for Darren Ruff at the deadline last year, only to have Ruff come back, rejoin the Giants, and then I think he's in Milwaukee now. I think Ruff has moved on to the Milwaukee Brewers, but the Giants fleeced the New York Mets on that deal.
Another Farhan find.
Yeah.
Going to be tough for Thairo if you look at second base.
Sure.
Luis Ariz is chasing 400.
He's
Ozzy Albies has 14 homers. Nolan Gorman, get an up-close and personal look at him today in St. Louis. He's got 15 bombs. So second base, Thairo's having a good year, batting .297 with an .843 OPS. But that's some deep, deep water at second base now, Mark.
Yeah, he's probably not going to make it. Lamont Wade deserves consideration, too, but same thing over first base.
It was a consideration.
Yeah, it was. But first base has a lot of good players. So what I've told Lamont was, during the All-Star break, the organization has decided that you can have some fun. Because we are good at having fun. Right. So those are the guys. They all deserve some consideration. But yeah, it's probably just going to be Doval. It's probably just going to be Camilo Doval.
Yeah. And maybe, I mean, Logan Webb, with pitcher's record, his record's awful, but he's had a pretty good year. Yeah, in the low 3s.
Yeah, he's doing fine now. He's had a little bit of a wonky start there, but he's doing fine now. And so, yeah, I mean, this is turned into viable. Is that the right word? The roster. Like, stack it up now in terms of all these teams we're talking about. Is this viable?
Viable to be a 500 club year in and year out?
No. I'm talking this year and whether or not this team can make all those people that bet minus 175 lose their money.
It's a 50-50 proposition right now.
Right,
if I was going to bet yes playoffs or no playoffs, I would bet the yes just because the price is better. And I was looking the odds. I didn't see any minus 175s. I saw minus 225. I saw minus 230. So the price, if you can get it at minus 175 on no, that's a better price than what I was seeing.
What do you think the actual Fangraphs percentage is right now for the Giants to make the playoffs?
It's probably 57%.
Oh, you're hot. Man, you think higher of the Giants than they do. 45.4%.
Interesting, just to make it.
Just to make the playoffs.
Wow.
Yep.
Okay.
And a 2.9% chance to win the World Series.
Well, there you go. And to win the division's probably about an 8% chance.
To win division, 7.9. Very good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Very,
and I'm not
very
even
good.
looking at it.
Yeah,
no notes.
That's very, very